It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, with Brisbane CBD, on a good day, you're seeing 25 to 30 minutes to the Brisbane CBD. Within a 5-minute drive from Goodna, there's 3 train stations. So you've got Redbank train station, you've got Goodna and then Wacol. So there's a lot of access to Brisbane CBD. It's very close for everything and it's on the main train line as well.
And that is Leah on the Real Estate Breakfast this morning as we continue to talk about your local real estate property market across Australia. And good morning if you are in Canberra this morning, maybe slightly chillier than the Gold Coast. And another weekend coming up. How busy has this week been for you, shuffling from property to property? Or perhaps you are in this phase of recalibrating your finances to buy a property. Even more of you will be working out the numbers after Tuesday and new borrowing capacity, keeping the mortgage brokers no doubt busy. And just on that note, Anthony Landau, your mortgage broker specialist, is back again tomorrow morning for the Saturday morning property show. As I mentioned, it is a Friday, August the 15th, halfway through the month already. So right now, let's catch up with Leah Sau from Brookwater, and she is from Strud Property. And I was just talking to you off air about how busy you are, because women getting involved in real estate, a lot of women just find it so difficult, especially if they have children. All credit and kudos to you because you've got 3 children. How you sell real estate is anybody's guess, but somehow you managed to do it.
Yeah, so I've got 3 little boys ranging from, 2 years old up to 7 years old. It's been a challenge. I had my kids quite young. I still am quite young. My husband, he's really supportive and he's been the shoulder I lean on to take the reins on the kids whilst I step into a career that's very dominated. It's a really good position to be in and I'm really grateful to be in this position, a young age, but also being in an industry that's high pressure. It's a very high pressure job and I think taking mental days is a strong thing to do as well.
What do you say to anybody that is listening right now that might have a little bit of a bent towards getting involved in the real estate industry? They have children and they've ruled it out. What would you say to somebody listening to the podcast right now from your point of view?
Yeah, look, honestly, what I'd say is just do it. Believe in yourself and just get in there and do it. It's one of those things where you've got to be 100% in. You've got to have both feet in the door. You can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So if you're 100% about it, go ahead and do it. I know it's going to be super hard. I'm finding, these years going to be my hardest because my kids are so young, dealing with sickness and all that sort of stuff, daycare, all those fun things that we deal with. You fall down and you get back up again. So just keep doing what you want to do what you need to do. And if it's something that you're really passionate about and you really love, then yeah, just do it. Get into a job that's an associate and start from the ground up because that's how I started.
Now, when you started, no doubt there were people in your circle of friends and family who would have probably said, you probably can't do this. There's just not enough hours in the day. It will stress you out. Real estate, it's a 7-day-a-week kind of an industry. How much of those detractors were saying you can't do it and then you just go ahead and get into the industry? Perhaps talk to the people that were trying to say don't do it, and then once you were in it, what was the biggest challenge when you first started?
Yeah, so I think there was a lot of talk about how dominated the industry was and how much time it's going to take away from me. Your kids are young, you're going to lose that time away from them. One thing I will say is I always make time for my kids. So if my kids have anything at school or if they got something going on at daycare, I always ensure that I'm there and I'm showing up. You can be 100% in and still work your life around it, but you could also be consumed into real estate. And I think to the people that said it's going to be hard and, you won't be able to do it, you've got kids and all that sort of stuff. It's one of those things where I say, well, yeah, it was hard and it still is hard, don't get me wrong, but I just keep showing up, keep doing what I need to do every single day. I've got a great support system here at work and, my family, my husband, all that sort of stuff is great support system. The culture we have here at Strud as well is massive, hence why I can do what I need to do and still show up for my kids when I need to.
Okay, well, that's great news. So, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Now, PropTrack, they released the other day this breakdown. This was for the most in-demand suburbs for buyers across Australia. Interesting when you have a look at the state of Queensland, there is seven locations, which includes Forestdale, Rocklear, Goodna, Logan Lear, Mount Gravatt, Spring Hill and Slacks Creek. Are you at the moment looking to buy in any of those areas? Now, one of the areas that did come up is Goodna. In all of our discussions with the hundreds and hundreds of real estate agents around Australia, we've never really poked the spotlight on Goodna. So perhaps first off, just give us a little bit of a breakdown on where Goodna is, Leah, and what makes this an attractive area to buy into.
Yeah, so Goodna is located 25 to 30 minutes out from Brisbane CBD. It's one of those suburbs that were, is a very quiet suburb. Demographic has started to change, hence why we're seeing the growth in the area. Properties in Goodna during the COVID period, it was still very slow. We weren't seeing that boom that everywhere else was seeing. Goodna was the last to come up. It's one of those areas that we're seeing a lot of people from the north side of Brisbane come in, Brisbane CBD. They can't afford necessarily out those ways because we're seeing, medium house value at just over $1 million over those ways. So they're coming over to Goodna. They're finding it quite central to everything. Multiple train stations nearby. Got shopping centres in a 10-kilometre radius, large shopping centres as well. So it's just a great area to be in, especially, now that everything's evolving and it's all changing. It's a hot spot that everyone wants to be in, surprisingly.
Listen to expert perspectives with exclusive real estate conversations and supercharge your knowledge base with us.
And right now it is time for another property tip. Recently we were talking to Nick Johnston there in Brighton in Melbourne. And Nick, you've got a good one for us this morning because it comes down to trying to find a property that's got the least amount of objections to it. All of that obvious stuff that a lot of the time people forget about.
Oh, look, absolutely. I think, when you're looking at buying a property, my advice is always try and find a house or apartment or whatever it is that has the least objections. So something not on a main road, something that's in a good street, something that's close to amenities, something that's close to schools. So when we go to sell properties, there are some properties that people just can't find fault with other than the house itself, but the position, potential, and as less objections as possible.
All right, let's catch up with Allegra, who is a first home buyer. How long have you been sort of saving on this journey of buying your first property?
Look, I've been saving since my teenage years. So since I got my first job when I was 15 years old, I sort of got into the workforce quite young there. So yeah, probably since 15, working all sorts of kind of jobs in hospitality, in retail. That's sort of where a lot of young people sort of start out.
So when you're working in hospitality at that very young age, was home ownership on your mind at that point?
It definitely was, just because my parents always said that it was something really important to save and put money aside for. I think their parents also encouraged them to save and put some money aside for a home one day in case you want to have a family. So yeah, it's definitely always been in the back of my mind. I think less important when you're that age. I think finishing school is probably the biggest one, and going through moving into a degree that takes up a bit of mental space, I guess, at that time. I know other people who have had a similar sort of upbringing, the importance of saving. So it's definitely been there.
You sort of tap into this whole notion about it's not a sprint, it's a marathon when it comes to getting into the property market. How fierce is the competition among buyers in the Melbourne housing market that you are looking at the moment? How tough is it for you?
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of competition, I think. So, I'll be 35 this year. So I'm at that sort of age where, I'm looking for a home. I'm sort of a little bit over renting. I feel like there's definitely a lot of people my age in the same position. So they're the sort of people that you will see looking at sort of properties where maybe you don't have kids right now, but you could maybe have one in that space. So a lot of people are looking at, those properties probably between, 550,000 and 750,000. Other side of the competition, I guess, is people looking to downsize. So that's a little bit tough as well because they obviously have worked a lot longer. They've been able to save more money. So they would be more willing to maybe put in a higher offer than maybe someone my age. So then, sort of like a independent sort of woman in her 30s, it's a little bit harder, I think, to get in really.
Eager to expand your property expertise? Enhance your real estate know-how with us.
Now, what is the population of Goodna? And let's just do the breakdown on the median price. I think you mentioned the house median there. Also, what is the median price for units?
Yeah, so house median at the moment is sitting roughly around that $652,000 mark. Personally, my median house price in the Goodna area, because I am a geographical agent in there, is $720,000. Units itself is sitting at about $508,000, which has had a substantial growth just within a 12-month period of close to 43% of property growth in there. But units at the moment are now selling for anywhere between that $570,000 and upwards for, your 3-bedroom townhouses. I just sold a 3-bedroom duplex over on Brisbane Terrace for $570,000, which was a huge result for a duplex over there. Population in Goodna is just sitting over 10,000 people in the area, but it is looking to double in the next 10 years, which is going to be huge. So, there is a lot of infrastructure happening at the moment, a lot of infrastructure happening on Brisbane Terrace, Queen Street, Albert Street, behind Bertha Street, just to pretty much accommodate to the growth that we are seeing in the suburb.
Yeah, so those first-time home buyers, they have got in there well and truly, along with those investors. Then you've got the commuting and the public transportation. A little easier to get into the city, is it, from Goodna?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, with Brisbane CBD, on a good day, you're seeing 25 to 30 minutes to the Brisbane CBD. Within a 5-minute drive from Goodna, there's 3 train stations. So you've got Redbank train station, you've got Goodna and then Wacol. So there's a lot of access to Brisbane CBD. It's very close for everything and it's on the main train line as well.
Thank you so much, Leah, for giving us a breakdown on Goodna. Happy days. Everybody seems to be coming into your area to buy. And as I mentioned, it was highlighted with PropTrack as the most in-demand suburb in Queensland for people to gravitate towards. Good luck with your real estate career. Good luck with the 3 boys. Somehow you are managing to juggle all of that. And thanks for coming on to the Real Estate Breakfast this morning.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Craig.
Every morning from 6 a.m. across Australia, we deliver you the latest property news, commentary and predictions from Perth to Cairns and from Melbourne to Brisbane, 7 days a week.
And that median, $700,000, the equity gains for people, life-changing.
It's extreme. It's been driven by 2 main factors, and that is rising property prices. We have seen momentum coming back into our housing markets. We've seen price growth across all of our capital cities over the last 5 years. But the other aspect is we are staying in our homes for longer periods of time.
Yeah, and when it comes to units, yes, we know that the units are not going to generate as much, but for many, it has proved to be a very prudent investment.
Absolutely, and I think this was one of the figures that I was quite surprised about, pleasantly surprised, I should say. The median gain on a unit resale nationally was $202,000, whereas when you look at that figure for houses, that's increased 10% over the past year. So the median profit being made on a unit in Australia has seen a larger uplift than houses.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.